Parenting can be like being the dungeon master, navigating a party of small adventurers through the game of life. Some of the biggest challenges we have is to help our little wizards and heroines navigate our slaying and taming their emotions. Movies like Inside Out have depicted just how hard it can be for our little ones to keep all those big-time emotions all in balance. In today's episode, we'll be talking about how we can help our kids balance all of those big feelings. All this on Three-Dimensional Dads.
I'm Jay.
I'm Derrick.
And I'm Ian.
And we're the Three-Dimensional Dads.
Three.
And it's been a while.
Yeah.
There's
You've
been
had a lot going on.
there's been like a baby and some surgeries.
Yeah.
And an appendix.
But no baby surgeries, just a
no
baby.
baby surgeries. Well, my daughter had surgery.
That's right.
Yeah. She decided to have her appendix out the day after I had part of my knee replaced. And she 3 months out still has a stitch that's in there and it got a little infected. But apparently that's normal.
Yeah.
And
also want to give a shout out to there has also been grandparents that have had surgeries too. My Pop my dad actually had a procedure and I had a procedure. We're like in parallel universes because he had his left leg had surgery on him and I tore my meniscus in my left leg. So it's like it's all crazy. Everything is just
hereditary.
Yes.
What sounds like.
Yeah.
We're just on different timelines. We're like in the multiverse.
We're dads. I don't know if you can tell, we are dads.
We are dads. We are all broken and complaining about our joints, which is great. But I don't know, complaining about our joints and all that stuff. I think that's trivial when it comes to the grand scheme of things. I think talking about our children's emotions, I think that's a bigger problem to tackle. But before we do that, hold on. It's been a while. I need a baby update.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, speaking of emotions, right? I think this is very topical, right? Because when my first son was born, and I think I go back to them with trying to feel like a parent and then, having to explore like, okay, the little guys are, they're coming to this world. You guys were just having your daughters, right? And they were just at that age when they were like that 2 or 3 year time frame. And babies tell you what they want, and they definitely express their emotions pretty easily. I feel like I am hungry, I am tired, and I'm going to cry my eyes off. But I think it gets like more complicated, as they get older, right? And I think it's just hard, right, to help them navigate and empathize when, that little, because part of it is just keeping our emotions in check. So, I thought this would be a good topic to revisit again. So, imagine, right, you are going to Target or you're in the middle of Hannaford, right? And you've got your sharp cart full and you have, your little one there and they just not want to be there and they just have a complete meltdown and you're stressed and you're busy, right? It's like,
you have 2 hours of sleep also. I mean, I feel like that's sleep deprivation. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, what do you do?
Oh, yeah.
It's like that. It's like in Speed when Jeff Daniels gives Keanu Reeves like the scenario. It's like, what do? You shoot the hostage. We can't do that in the store. We can't do that in the store. No, I'm sorry. I went off in an early 90s tangent. No, I think, Derrick, you are absolutely right. Like, that's one of those situations. I use this phrase a lot. It's the Kobayashi Maru. There's no winning. Right. There's no solution. Kids melt down and we do not know what to do. We are, and we're taking the perspective of dads, but like it's moms too, but I mean, we're dads. So we got to like do the dads thing right now. And so I know, Ian, you seem to be the Superman. You put in our script, you know what to do. And out of all of us, okay, hotshot, you give us the $1 million answer.
Yeah. I feel like emotions were the thing that first made me question what I'm doing more than anything else. It's like the baby was born, there was all that stuff. And I felt like I'm the dad. I read all these books. I knew what to do until I took a car ride with a baby in a back seat. And the car ride was like an hour and a half. That baby did not want to be in that car seat.
No.
And, I'm used to being in the house. Baby hadn't traveled for a really long time. We had this whole thing worked out. When they cry, you change them and you feed them. And there's this whole thing you do. And but when they're in a car seat, they can't get out of the car seat. And so the baby, I feel like my brain broke a little bit. Is that when you can't stop a baby crying 10 minutes, then 20 minutes, around 30 minutes, I started going insane. Like, I didn't know what to. It was nuts. We pulled over.
Yeah.
We're like, we're never going anywhere again. We can't travel. This is insane. And I mean, it's a moment of getting to know your baby.
Yeah.
Because then, I don't think my daughter's changed. She's still the same baby. She's just all grown up now. She's like 9 years old. But yeah. And I ask her, I'm like, that one time in the car, you're 9 now. Can you remember what that was about? I think she got car sick. I think we solved it. She was car sick.
Oh, wow.
And she didn't know she's never liked being in the back seat.
Yeah.
Her car seat, it has to be on the side. There's like all this stuff. They can't watch things going by. And so I think she was getting car sick. As she got older, we found that out. But wow, there's
needs
nothing more frustrating.
She needs the Grogu cocoon, right? Like Grogu's little floating bassinet with the cocoon goes through. Imagine the airplane. That's even worse.
Oh, yeah. I didn't do baby in an airplane. Yeah, that's
big metal tube. Yeah, not fun.
Yeah. But their ears feel like they're exploding and they can't tell you, right?
Yes.
At least you can hold them on an airplane. I mean, I think my daughter just wanted to be held. It's like, I can't. We're on the highway. You got to be in the car seat. Oof.
Yeah. And then you got to. What my wife would have done, she would have got unbuckled, crawled over me while going 70 miles per hour to get to the baby. But so we joked around a little bit. Like, no one knows what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. Sometimes parent B, whether mom, subsequent dad, 2 moms, no one knows what to do. It doesn't matter the combinations. We are the pamphlet. Did you go home with a pamphlet? I didn't go home with a pamphlet.
The pamphlet? The pamphlet?
Yeah, from the hospital, right? Weren't you supposed to get a pamphlet with everything in it? No. So
this is the problem.
It's the problem, right? It's everything's digital now, and they didn't give us the QR
now
code.
Would be ChatGPT. I'm like, the baby's crying. What do I do? Sure, 5 tips for calming your bed.
But here's the thing, though. I have the added issue of my daughter actually has a diagnosis of emotional regulation issues. It's not a disorder or anything like that, but she definitely has trouble regulating her emotions. So imagine everything feels like Chernobyl, right? Everything feels like a meltdown, right? Everything feels like she's like turned up to 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when that happens, for me to navigate it, for my wife to navigate it, we don't know what she wants. Like we say, like babies will tell you when they're hungry, they'll tell you when they're wet, whatever like that. But like my daughter, like when she was younger, she did not know how to tell us what she wanted. And we've gotten better. I mean, therapy's definitely played a role. And me being the man, right? I want to be a problem solver. I know that we try not to like stereotype gender roles here, but that's what I want to do. I'm like, okay, what's wrong? Yeah. Let me fix it. All right. That's what I want to do. And, sometimes we just can't do it. And I think now that she's 9, we have a little bit more of an understanding. I can tell when we're riding this wave of emotion, what can do. And she has coping strategies too. But you got to get to that place. And obviously if a child's under 8, you might not be at that place. And I think that's tough. And while we don't have all the solutions, I think one of the themes of this podcast is we never know exactly what to do. All we're here is to like co-sympathize with all of our people out there. For this show anyway, when we do all the geek shows, we're geeking out to things. But for a show like this, we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. And I think that's important to understand.
I mean, I think that it's really important just to know, as a dad, you're just trying to do your best. Yeah. And we're never going to be perfect at this, right? So even in those situations where you have the kid that is just throwing himself on the floor out of the shopping cart, or in the middle of the street, like thrashing themselves, it's not a reflection on you. It really isn't, and it's just there are going to be those times where it is just going to happen, where either it's partially your child is learning new things, it's overwhelming for them, and I think it's just it's natural for us to feel overwhelmed at times too. And it's not even just us, it's parenting in general. It's not just the dads, right? It's not that like women have, or the mothers have this one innate thing that they can help solve it, and we can't, and we're trying to solve problems. at times we're all overwhelmed. At times we're both there figuring like, I don't know why this bomb is going off. Do you have any idea? Like with Alex, one night Liz and I were just passing it back and forth like, do you have the answer? I don't know. Like, what? I don't know.
Where's
Try
the
buffering
pamphlet?
again.
Where's the pamphlet?
Where's the pamphlet? Didn't they give you the QR code to download it, right?
Yeah.
No. I do think though too, there's been times where I feel like I've almost been triggered by things that have happened with my child, like when they've gotten an emotional response. And I feel like that also can be something natural that can happen to us too. Like it could like their emotional set-offs can set off things in us, right? I mean, whether it was like at a time like we might have been punished for something, right? Or it's a similar feeling or similar fear that they had that we might have had when we were kids too. Whether it's like everybody trying to like everyone wants to be a parent sometimes, right? Everyone wants to tell you what to do, and that kid is just overwhelmed, and you just like want to take them, scoop them up, and be like, leave us alone. Because I don't want you telling me what to do and what my kid to do. I've been there, right? And I think that's all of these things are just very natural when it comes to parenting, but especially for dads too, because I feel like sometimes we aren't maybe as in tuned sometimes to our emotions, and we need to let that guard down.
And you get to the point, right? Like, so our thing as a dad, right? Our tradition going back millennia is to fix it.
Yep.
Our job as a dad is to fix it.
And a toolbox. There's nothing in there for emotions, though.
No, there's nothing
like
in there for
hammer
emotions.
And a wrench.
Basically, yeah. So we can have that, predisposition to wanting to fix things, but I think we just need to skip a beat. We need to pause, right?
Yeah.
Hold back and let's plan a strategy. Let's not be reactive. Let's be proactive. Like our usual default is fix the broken toy. Well, sometimes it's not the broken toy that's the problem, right? And it's a problem we can't really get to. And, there's no grand advice to this. Like, how do you step back? You just have to step back. You have to like literally take a breath. Like, like that's all you can do in that moment. And this isn't just like, we can't just say this for our kids. I think, we're talking about kids, but like, this is our grown-up relationships too with our partners. Right. And I am so guilty of this too, is being reactive and not proactive. Like I and that's something that my wife and I work on in our couples therapy. It's something I talk about with my therapist, is not being reactive. Right. Cause that's our knee-jerk response, is to react. But I'm working on it. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
My problem is always trying to explain myself, apparently. I do feel you're absolutely right, Jay. And another parallel to like what you just said too is a lot of what I've taken from reading parenting books and things, just like you did, Ian, actually applied at the workplace for me when I was a manager, which is like which is the funniest thing I feel like. There was a book I read, and I'm going to mess up the title a little bit, but it's something along the lines of how to listen to children so you can talk to children type of thing. And, there's a couple tenets in this book, but I personally feel like it's also just a good life lesson that you could apply to talking to adults, especially in the workplace. And part of it is active listening. So when your child is really upset and having a tantrum, rather than fixing it or telling them how they should feel, you're listening and you're connecting. The teddy bear fell down or the toy broke, and you're just there and letting them all out. It's almost like, and this happens with adults too, when they get really mad, you let them basically cry it out, right? Or you let them bitch it out until they can't bitch any longer.
I believe the professional term is venting.
Yes, the professional term is venting. And then you're reflecting back what their feeling is, and and then doing that, right? They have this connection with you, right? They have this feeling like, oh, you're understanding, and helping them name, actually, especially for kids, naming the feeling, right? Oh, it seems like you're sad, or it seems like you're frustrated, or that made you really mad when daddy said you couldn't have another cookie, right? It's identifying that for them and letting them know what's happening. And some of that is age dependent, but those are the things that really help you connect with your kid. And in that just mind frame, right? It's not fixing it. It's just settling with them and seeing, kind of getting on their level, seeing eye to eye.
Well, you're listening with the intent to listen. You're not listening with the intent to reply.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. And I mean, I think Ian, I think you brought up something in one of our previous episodes that we talked about parenting that goes along this line, right? It's like trying to listen to your daughters, and like I've met them. They are very precocious and they have a lot of energy. And I'm sure when they're in meltdown mode, that it's even more so difficult to try to listen and make sure you understand what she's saying. But she's older now, right? It's getting better.
Yeah, I think that's what we're hitting on is like all these different ages. It's like, so we've mentioned babies, we've mentioned toddlers, and my daughters are at different ages. It's like I know that there's this like first grade, second grade, there's like really big emotions and not knowing how to handle those big emotions. And I have a daughter and she's a screamer and she loves screaming, not like angry scream, like crying scream. So she'll cry and then just full 11. She's got, I'm a singer. She got some like singer lungs. And I'm like, that's because she's a singer. I think she's an artiste. And so she feels things very intensely. But now that I can talk to her, she's also very articulate suddenly out of nowhere. It's like, this came right along with this balancing. And I can, talk to her and say like, you're getting mature enough now that you can't be going to that level, and trying to give her tools to stop herself from getting to that level. Cause she can see it. It's like, she knows the logic now too. She'll see like, okay, I'm just overtired and I'm past this point, and she's just crying for the sake of crying. But like trying to catch it early for herself and not let herself get that worked up and try to control her own emotions. Cause she's doing what we're doing. Here we are talking about babies and emotions. And like, she is learning now how to control her own emotions and see, okay, I know I'm starting to get angry. I'm starting to have feelings, not let herself get to full cry scream.
Yeah.
We got to come back from that because it's frustrating for everyone involved, and it just elevates. And it gets tough for soccer coaches.
Yeah.
We had soccer coaches too be like, what should we do when she's just screaming? Like, yes, I know it hurt when you hurt your leg. I don't know if it went 11 out of 10 screaming when you hurt your leg.
There's no bone protruding through your shin, but
it's not a compound fracture.
I'm sure it hurt.
Yes. And so I think we've shortened the duration. So I've seen that with maturity. It's like, okay, so she might scream, but now she screams for a shorter amount of time. And so now we're trying to stop her from getting to 211.
But what you're saying is you're working to build the toolbox. I mean, we kind of made the joke earlier that the dads have we have hammers and wrenches, not emotions in our toolbox.
The emotional toolbox.
We have to build an emotional toolbox. I think, that's
trademark. Three-dimensional dads, emotional toolbox. We invented that.
That's get some stickers. Emotional toolbox.
Emotional toolbox. We do have stickers. They're right here.
Stickers.
No, but I think that's a great kind of transition to kind of our last segment here is like, what is in that emotional toolbox? What do we have in that emotional toolbox?
Yeah. So I think the most important thing, right, is you stop and you take a breath. You can't care for your kid or anybody else until you take care of yourself. If you're not in a place where you can control your emotions, then how do you expect if you're all hyped up and angry or frustrated or emotionally out of control, then your kid is going to also be reflecting that behavior. So you have to try as much as you can, and we're never going to be perfect at it, right? It's very difficult. We have to try to show up and model that behavior for them. And that means taking care of yourself, whether that's sleep, whether that's making sure that we're fed, right? All the things. If we're hangry and, going on empty, then how do we expect, our kids to be, a reflection of, what we want them to be modeled behavior, right? Yeah. So I think the always thing is you got to take care of the base first before you can then take care of your kid. Those are my tips.
Yeah.
Ian, what do you got?
So I thought, we have all these ones for different ages here.
Yeah.
And so I thought I'd start with when they're really small toddlers. Babies, sorry, you change them. I don't have a great tool for little tiny babies in the back seat. But one that I saw with my daughter's daycare was to make a bubble with your mouth. And it's when they're like 3 or 4, and it's when they're screaming, and they just kind of go like, and it just stops them because what these first 2 ones are about is that kids get stuck in this gear, is that they go to 4th or 5th gear and they're stuck there and they can't down regulate. And so you can either distract them Or this one is like, okay, a bubble for a moment stops the yelling, stops the screaming, stops the big emotion. And it's also deep breath when they make the bubble and they hold it for a moment. And I thought that works sometimes with like the lower level tantrums. And I know it works surprisingly well from what, things I've seen. The next is a little more complicated, and it's when my daughters would have like full on tantrums and really be at 11 out of 10. And it's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding. And I saw this somewhere, probably on a TikTok or YouTube. I don't even know if TikTok was around back then. YouTube Shorts early.
A
And
Vine, perhaps?
you ask them when they're having a lot, when they're really stuck there, do you want to play a game? And that immediately they're like, wait, what? I get to play because they think they're going to be punished or people are getting mad. It's like and they go, oh, it's a game, and it shifts their brain out of the mode that they were in. And what you're doing is trying to help them ground themselves physically. And so you help them, it's 5 things they see, 4 things they feel, 3 things they hear, 2 things they smell, 1 thing they taste. I've also seen it just can you name 5 things that are blue in this room? I've even seen, a simpler one of that. And that suddenly it takes their brain out of, oh, I'm freaking out, I'm emotional, into, oh, I'm playing a game. This is fun. Oh, what is in the room with us right now? It's a calm thing that you notice with your eyes, and you start talking, and we're talking calmly, and they're excited, and they kind of like that this is something fun suddenly, where we were just in this moment of stress and high emotions. So I've seen that, grounding. And guess what? It works for adults too. It's a parasympathetic nerve response.
Yeah.
And you grounding yourself in reality is also right. It's also something to help manage panic attacks, or when your anxiety, you're in that fight or flight mode.
Yep.
And this helps you get back to regulation and to ground you in the physical. Because when you're in that mental high emotion state, it helps you bring yourself down. And then the last one I had was name it to tame it, which we mentioned Inside Out. Right? I know. I like that. I like that it rhymes. But we talked about Inside Out 1 and 2, but that was a huge breakthrough for my daughters. Like we mentioned my daughter and how she's having big emotions and she's a screamer. But from seeing Riley and Inside Out, we could talk about what are you feeling right? What is going on? Tell me, are you mad? Are you sad? Are you hurt? What's happening? And she, I feel like now can talk about her emotions a lot more, thinking about the emotions in her head. Oh, is this anger? Is this nervous? Is this, disgust? Is it, we can kind of, or anxiety was a big one for my daughters too, to be like, oh, that it's its own, it's nervous, but it's not. So yeah. And we did 2 episodes on those earlier in our series.
Yeah,
so if you're on our channel, you're listening to us, go check out these other episodes on Inside Out. They were some of our most popular. That we've had the most views, and I thought they were really helpful. So yeah.
Also just fun movies too.
Fun movies. Yeah. So Ian, you're talking about common language, right? Like developing a language surrounding these things, and that's important that both you and your child know that language, right? So, I mean, when you're not in panic mode, sometimes it's easier to front load this stuff and teach it to them beforehand, and they can then use it to tell you how they feel in good ways too. Like they can describe good things that happen in school. They can use those adjectives. They can use those, those adverbs, how they're feeling and stuff like that. I think that's great stuff. I mean, the only thing I really have to add is my therapist uses visuals, my daughter's therapist uses visuals, like charts, like red, blue, yellow, and assign those to different feelings. And yeah, that was better when she was a little younger, but she still kind of uses those things. We still kind of talk about it in that way. So yeah, she definitely, she's definitely in the place now where we're using more common language. Like, okay, you're upset at what? What are you upset at? What's making you angry? Or is this a big problem, a media problem, or a little problem? Like, what kind of problem is this? And she has to kind of judge for that. Sometimes it's always a big problem, but then you work back from it. Like, a big problem is, a polar bear steps on your foot. That's a big problem. The fact that that you dropped your Oreo at lunch, that is not a big problem. Right. But yeah, we just have to get this common language. We have to talk about it. And that's really kind of, I think, the big summary of this episode, right? We just have to use that common language. We have to talk to our kids. We have to teach them about emotions so that they can regulate them, so they can use that language. They can use those tools in the toolbox to regulate their emotions. And hopefully, we're doing a good job. I think we're all doing a good job. Yeah, I know. I hope so too. No, I think
We're
Yeah,
talking
that's-
about it at least, and not like some generations that were like,
exactly.
"You
That's
plug
the
up.
thing, right?
Hey,
Like,
I don't want to
stuff
hear
down
it.
those
I'll give you
emotions.
yeah, like how many of us would have like an uncle at Thanksgiving? Like, what is this stuff about big and little problems? You know, when I was
Or
in
listening
Korea,
to a
I had a
kid when
big
they're-
problem. You know, it's like you have okay, thanks, uncle. Like, have a seat. But no, I think that's a great place to wrap it up. We got to talk to our kids. We got to teach them about this stuff. It's our job, and let's do it. Let's keep on doing it, guys.
Yeah. And we'll be here for all those dads that are, have questions about it too.
We can commiserate
Yes.
and communicate.
and hopefully
Absolutely.
produce healthy, balanced adults.
Yes.
Because we
the goal.
sure need it in this world now.
Don't we? Yeah.
Oh boy.
Mm.
Thanks for listening and validating our feelings. We hope you got some practical tips to help your little adventurers cope with their big boss battles with their emotions.
If you want to find out more about 3-Dimensional Dads, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok at 3Dimensional Dads, or email us at 3dimensionaldads@gmail.com. We want to hear from you.
Next time on 3-Dimensional Dads, we're going to go head-to-head for round 2 of DC versus Marvel. It's the new Doom phase of Marvel going to live up to the hype, or is James Gunn's fresh take on the DC universe going to deliver the hits to knock Marvel's mouse ears off? All this and more on the next episode of 3-Dimensional Dads.